Hello, welcome to another episode of Martial Arts Movie Monday. I'm your host, Bobby. As you see, we've got a different little bit of setup, a lot more in our room. Got a brand new camera. I apologize for the mess. Literally, the camera just arrived, and I wasn't anticipating how much bigger view we were going to have. So I haven't got all the new settings and stuff yet. But I went and decided to this show is a little bit smaller, and it's me by myself. I figured I'd use it to test out the show. Test it out for this show. But what's cool is you can see I can put the movies we're discussing today. You can see the laptops. You can see me. So you can see us working. Might not be a good thing in the bigger picture when you see us eating and all the weird stuff, but it is going to save from us having to hold it up here. You get to see Jason. You get to see Freddie. We got to get it all even. Everything's off crooked right now, but it's okay because that's how we learn, right? So if you never joined this show before, I take a deep dive into a martial arts film of my choice out of my own collection. Sometimes it's a new movie, sometimes it's an old movie, sometimes it's a series of movies. It all just has to do with martial arts, and also talk about how it may have had some impact on my own personal journey in the martial arts. For those that don't know, I'm a martial arts instructor full-time, teaching Taekwondo and Muay Thai, and dabble in a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu. So without further ado, we're going to dive in. Today we're talking about the Canon Ninja Trilogy from the 80s. That starred the one and only Ultimate Ninja Sho Kosugi, one of my favorites of all time, probably my favorite martial arts movie icon. I love Bruce Lee, I love Van Damme, I love Steven Seagal and Scott Adkins and Michael Jai White and Tony Jaa and Iko Uwais and Chuck Norris and all these people, but I really gravitated towards Sho Kosugi when I was a kid. I think it was the ninja thing. I think I wanted to be a ninja, and I thought ninjas were just so awesome. But that's where I went. I also hope the sound's working today. I'm not even going to check. I'm just going with it. If it doesn't work, I'll delete the show and I'll do it again, right? We're testing this camera. But anyway, so what's funny about this trilogy, if you don't know about the Canon Trilogy, the reason it's called the Canon Trilogy, or the reason I'm referring to it as the Canon Trilogy, is it was Canon Films basically started the popularity of the ninja film in America. There have been ninja films through the Shaw Brothers and things like this. One of my favorite ninja films of all time is Chinese Super Ninjas, aka Five Element Ninjas, which is a Shaw Brothers film that we will talk about on this show at some point. But the real big thing was they were trying to bring the ninja movie here to America in a different way. And people had seen karate and judo and whatever, so they wanted something different, bring the mysticism and the mysticalness and the magic and whatever else you want to call it of the ninja to America. And the way they did that was with the first movie, Enter the Ninja, which the name familiar to the Dragon was by design. They were trying to capitalize on the popularity of Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon. So thought by doing Enter the Ninja, it would sound similar and make people kind of be interested in seeing their film. Takes a lot of it takes place, I believe it's like the Philippines or in Thailand, those Asian countries. Where I don't know exactly where they filmed it, but I'm assuming it's out there somewhere. And Mike Stone, who is a legitimate martial arts icon. You may not know him if you're not part of the martial arts stuff. He wasn't like a huge actor or anything. He was an actual martial artist. But he wrote the story for Enter the Ninja with the intent to star in the movie. And I believe because of maybe not having the acting chops, whatever, they replaced him. He still did a lot of the choreography and the stunt direction and stuff like that. So he was still heavily involved in the movie. He's just not in the movie other than as the White Ninja arts. That's Mike Stone doing all the fighting and anything that you say that's remotely martial arts looking. As the White Ninja, that is Mike Stone. But they brought in Franco Nero. Now, those of you who don't know who Franco Nero is, he's the original Django. People know the Jamie Foxx's Django and the Quentin Tarantino Django Unchained. There was a series of movies, foreign westerns, Django and Django Returns, or I don't know the names of them, but Franco Nero played Django in those original films, and he does have a cameo, I think is the Frenchman or whatever his name is, in the Quentin Tarantino version. But he is the White Ninja. It's funny because his voice is dubbed because he has an accent. He was supposed to be, I think, Texan or something, and they couldn't get the accent right, so they had to dub him with a different voice. So anyway, so this movie is like a straight-up action movie. I love this movie. It was one of the first time I saw White Ninja. Because now I saw Enter the Ninja late, right? I didn't see these movies necessarily in order. And it's funny because once you hear the story, if you don't know the story of the Canon Trilogy, you don't need to watch them in order. You don't even need to watch them together. This movie, the Enter the Ninja, though, was the introduction of Sho Kosugi, who's the ultimate Hollywood ninja. He's a real ninja, or a really practitioner of ninpo, I think it is, ninjutsu. He's still very active in Hollywood and the martial arts, training and teaching, and I think he does like stunt classes and all kinds of stuff. Those of you that don't know him may have remember him from the movie Ninja Assassin that came out some years ago. He was the old master that has the big fight with Rain at the end of it, which I lost my mind when I found out Sho Kosugi was coming back for that movie, and we will be talking about that movie on here at some point as well. Anyway, Enter the Ninja basically introduced the world of Sho Kosugi. Now, Sho Kosugi is a backup character in this movie. He is not a star of it. He is literally just a villain. He has a little bit of opening stuff at the beginning. Basic premise is this guy who had trained to become a ninja in Japan. He's bestowed a ninja by his master, and his ninja brother, who is Sho Kosugi, doesn't believe he deserves it and walks out of the clan. And so then years later, he is now visiting some friends. There's criminals involved. It's a very stereotypical 80s action movie. And they end up hiring an assassin, and the assassin they happen to hire is, oh, how ironic, it's going to be Sho Kosugi, who wants revenge on his brethren. So it's funny because the whole build-up, almost all the main part of the story is moot. You can watch the beginning of the movie and the final fight, and that's literally the story. It's him mad at him because he got to become the main ninja or because he became a ninja of a clan and he's an American, and them having the fight, their final confrontation because of his jealousy and anger, and then helping him die with honor and all this kind of stuff. So it's really funny. It's a little cheesy. They're all kind of cheesy in their own right, but it's a little slower, but it's got some good fights. You can really tell though when Franco Nero is out of the costume and doing martial arts is not the same martial arts as when Mike Stone is in the costume doing it. Franco Nero obviously doesn't know what he's doing or didn't know what he was doing. I don't know if he had any martial arts background, but the comparison of the two was very clear that you could tell it's not the same person. Sho Kosugi also plays a couple of roles in here. While he's the black ninja, there's a couple of moments where at the beginning when Franco Nero's white ninja character is taking on a horde of ninjas, Sho Kosugi is one of them as well. And you can always see Sho. Sho's got the very distinct eyes, very distinct way he moves. I can spot Sho a mile away. I'll be like, that Sho, not Sho. So Enter the Ninja, that was the first entrance that brought up, there was a lot of issues on set with the directors and I believe firing of directors, and Mannheim Gobles or whatever his name is, I never can say their names, taking over as director. So that launched the popularity of the ninja, and then tons of ninja movies started coming out. But the follow-up to this was Revenge of the Ninja, one of my favorite ninja movies of all time. I say favorite, and when I say favorite, I'm talking about there's top tier. Like, I don't believe in I have one favorite. I believe in you have favorite in your genre, you have favorite in the subgenres. Revenge of the Ninja is probably one that I watched more than any other ninja movie back in the day. Partly because of Ken Kosugi, Sho Kosugi's real life son, being in it was a little kid, and he got to see him do some fight scenes. He got to see him do some stuff, and I was a little kid learning to do martial arts, so I was inspired by him. Ironically enough, I interviewed him a few years back. We became acquaintances, so I emailed him back and forth a couple of times, and he's a very nice guy. He invited me to set when I was going to be coming to Thailand. He invited me to come down to a set to a movie. Sadly, we weren't going to be there at the same time, so I was never able to do it. This was years and years ago. I'm hoping maybe we'll cross paths eventually in person. I've yet to meet him in person, but I've had a lot of nice talks with him. Anyway, that's Kane. But Revenge of the Ninja marked Sho Kosugi's first starring role. Now, he plays a ninja in this again, but the thing where this thing goes really weird is Enter the Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja have nothing to do with each other, right? It's two totally separate stories. Sho Kosugi plays a completely different character. There's no connections. The Ninja Trilogy is in name alone. They basically made 3 ninja movies with Sho Kosugi, and that became the Ninja Trilogy, which initially you can't even tell. It's just Enter the Ninja is a movie, Revenge of the Ninja is a movie. You get into the third one, and they suddenly called it Ninja 3: The Domination. They should have just called it Ninja Domination or something like that. But it was very confusing because I remember when 3 came out, I was very confused trying to figure out 1 and 2 and never could find it. We didn't have the internet like that then. So then finally realized, oh, this is part of this crap. Anyway, back to Revenge of the Ninja. Revenge of the Ninja is more of a hardcore ninja film, right? I saw this one in the theater with my dad. I saw all these martial arts movies with my dad. I watched this over and over. I was obsessed with it. There's a lot of fights in there. There's movements in there. There's things that I watched obsessively to learn from as a martial artist. But Revenge of the Ninja also has a lot of cheese to it. But basic premise is he's a real ninja. He's in Japan. His family is killed. Him and his baby son are the only 2 that survive. Now, it's funny is he has another son, Sho Kosugi. There's Shane and Kane. Kane's the older of the 2. Kane's the one that always does all the martial arts in the movies. Both of them have showed up in a couple of his movies. Shane shows up in this movie as the older son who is killed at the opening. And then Kane is the baby that grows up a little bit later in the movie. And right off the bat, when we first meet Kane in the movie, he gets to fight some older kids or thugs and whatnot. But he comes to America with help from an American friend to help with some trade stuff and start his life over and kind of protect him. And of course, shenanigans and mobsters and all kind of thing ensues. So it lays the groundwork for, you have an evil black ninja this time around, where this one you had a white ninja and a black ninja. It was very obvious who was good, who was bad. This one you have 2 black ninjas, right? One has vowed to not pick up the sword anymore, no longer practice ninjutsu, or no longer be ninja, because that's what killed his family. You have the other one who is using it to gain something in, crime and whatnot. So he's wearing like a silver, like demon mask, and so you don't know who it is. It's funny is they do a lot of stuff to try to hide who this guy is, but they show you who it is right off the bat. Like one of the first times you see him, you know it's him. And it's silly because he like packs all of his stuff into like a little briefcase bag. He goes and changes, does some ninja killing. Then he changes and leaves like nobody will notice. Like they're seeing you leave the scene of the crime. Why not leave as the ninja with the mask? Then nobody will know it was you. And then you've got your bare hands out. So when you're like killing somebody, you're in full ninja gear, but your fingerprints are now everywhere. The bad ninja was not a very good thought out ninja, but that's because he was an American person. He don't know nothing about being no ninja. But this one lets Sho Kosugi shine. He gets to do some acting. He gets to do tons of fighting. He does a lot of his own stunts. There's this iconic, I say it's iconic. It's iconic in my world of martial arts, of silliness, that I don't even know if my wife has ever seen Revenge of the Ninja, but she knows this scene. Is there's this one lady who is kind of friend / partner with the American guy, but she's kind of got the hots for Sho. And she comes in there. Sho and Kane are working out, doing some training, and they're in full gis and whatnot. And she comes in wearing a gi top, red gi top. Excuse me. I believe a headband, and she may not have been wearing a headband. She may have just been wearing the belt, but she's wearing a gi top and a belt. No pants, but she's got like pantyhose on. But the gi top hangs far enough down that you may or may not even think about it at first. But then all of a sudden they start fighting. Her and Sho start fighting, kind of romantically fighting, where she's kicking a bunch of, but you see her in her full pantyhose and he's throwing her around, and she's trying to get erotic, and he's like, no, not in dojo. No, I cannot do the disrespect my wife, whatever. It's so good. It's such cheese, but it's so 80s, which is why it works. But I remember as a kid watching it going, oh my God, that girl doesn't have no pants. Can she watch this thing with no, can she do karate with no pants? And you can, in fact, do karate with no pants. I've never got to do it the way they did it, but I put my jacket on and kicked around a few times, see if it was possible. I had a very weird childhood. But it also gets the full, you start learning all the, like, I don't even remember them now, but there's a whole, I think it's like the nine symbols of whatever, of ninjutsu, and that's when they're like going, and they're pushing out. I had them memorized when I was a kid from watching the movies. I'd watch Sho do it, and I'd sit there and I'd do it before I went and played and when I was fighting and whatever I was doing. But there's some great fights in here. There's great ninja fights. There's great stuff without ninjas. There's all the weaponry. Sho Kosugi really likes his belt buckle Chinese star throwing shuriken that he uses. He uses it in this movie. He uses it in the next movie. He uses it in another movie. He made a lot of the, for those who don't know, he made a lot of the weapons himself for the films too. So he created some stuff as well as existing weapons. So Revenge of the Ninja, it's got sex, not really sex, but it's got some nudity. It's got all the ninja action you could want. It's got cheesy criminals. It's got just overall silliness. It's got drug lords. It's got car chases. It's got people being dragged behind cars. It's got everything you want in an 80s action flick filled with ninjas. So Revenge of the Ninja is one of my favorites. It is part 2 of the canon trilogy, but that is not all. The canon trilogies, these 2 films stuck in the realm of straight up action movie. You might find them cheesy, you might find them silly, but they're both straight up action movies. And in reality, they serve as a kind of a stepping stone of the career of Sho Kosugi that's just gotten better and better and better as he went along. With him playing the villain here, he did the TV show The Master, who was kind of the villain versus Lee Van Cleef as well. And then getting here, I don't know if The Master was before this or not, but then getting here for Revenge of the Ninja, full on star power, the next martial arts badass. And he's got the best facial expressions. He's got the best poses. He kicks somebody's ass and then pose, look around and then run. I learned my ninja run from Sho Kosugi watching the movies. But then we shift into Ninja 3: The Domination. Is it Sam Furstenberg? Sam Furstenberg? Yeah. I believe he did them both, did he? Didn't he do both? Yeah. Director Sam Furstenberg, who I did get to speak with some years ago when this was released by Shout Factory. That's why the only one I have in Blu-ray is Shout Factory released this one, like a little special collector's edition that has some new bonus features and whatnot. But I talked to Sam Furstenberg about this film. He stepped in for Revenge of the Ninja, and then he did this one, and then he went on to do American Ninja and whatnot. But what's funny is this movie was clearly trying to capitalize on the popularity of things at the time, where these two, or especially Enter the Ninja was creating something new for the time, right? Revenge of the Ninja was cementing it. Ninja 3: The Domination was trying to capitalize on the time. It had the ninja popularity, it had breakdancing popularity, it had the supernatural and the horror genres hitting. So this one tried to throw a little bit of everything into it. And it makes for a movie that is pretty stupid. But it is also a movie I watched hundreds of times. Again, Sho Kosugi is back as yet another character. He hardly speaks in this movie. He's almost back to being a character like this. He's not a bad guy. He's a good guy. But he's back to like this where he's not in the movie that much. When he finally shows up, he shows up and kicks some ass here and there. But he's really there to just stop what's going on and get revenge. He had an eye patch this time around. And it's funny, the eye patch is actually a guard, like the little guard on a sword, the hand guard. It's made into an eye patch, so it's got a slit in the middle of it. It's kind of interesting twist because it's got a design and stuff on it. So instead of just a pirate eye patch, he did something different. But this one is starring Lucinda Dickey. Did I say her name right? Yeah, Lucinda Dickey, who most of you may know from Breakin' and Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. Breakin' 2 was also directed by Sam Furstenberg. They were capitalizing on popularity. She was Canon's new it girl. And so they were putting her in everything. I believe she was like a solid gold dancer and kind of hit it big. She was a pretty girl. She could dance. So they brought her into this. And the whole premise of Ninja 3: The Domination is that she gets a hold of this ninja sword that's possesses her. And so she is periodically possessed by the spirit, soul of the ninja, and goes out to kill the people that killed that ninja. That's the easy story. This does have to me, one of the coolest opening sequences ever. That's what I used to watch all the time. I'd watch this whole movie, but I've watched the opening to this movie, God, I don't even know how many times. The whole thing is a ninja, excuse me. And I think they just refer to him as a black ninja, despite the fact that he's wearing like a brown, beigeish brown colored uniform. It's got like weird shoulder pads. It's kind of a cool, different design, which again, I think that's another reason it piqued my interest, because you had the black and white ninjas over here. Then you just had the black ninjas, and now you've got a beige ninja. Whereas you go to something like, that was kind of unheard of. So when I saw 5 Element Ninjas that I mentioned earlier, that one's like fire ninjas, water ninjas, earth ninjas, tree ninjas. whatever. They're all different colors, and I'm like, gold ninjas. I'm like, holy crap! It's like a plethora of ninjas. So this one brought a different ninja to the case, and the opening sequence is ninja showing up to assassinate somebody on the golf course. And as he does this, then all the police come. So then it's got to be 20 minutes long, if not longer, I think, of just killing cops, running around in the desert, fighting, doing every ninja weapon and ninja kill you could think of. And it's just so awesome to watch. It's not awesome from a standpoint of like watching Tony Jaa or Iko Uwais or Scott Adkins kicking somebody's ass one-on-one and their the fancy techniques they do or the speed, but it's just nonstop, and it was cool. It was something I'd never seen at the time. And once that sequence over, that's how it kind of leads into the weird supernatural side of it. It gets weird, and Lucinda Dickey is just, she's fine at it. I was hot for her when I was a kid. She's still pretty. It was just, the movie is just silly. She's getting possessed. It almost feels like Poltergeist at some point. It has like a little Ghostbusters flair to it, from when it's possessing her. It's almost laughable sometimes watching it now, the way they do it. It was clever then with the doors flying open and smoke coming out and lasers coming out of video games. And yes, all of this happens. They even make her skin get a little more pale the more possessed she gets periodically. They paint her, did her eye makeup to make her eyes look more Asian when she turns. But like when Sho shows up, he never is in full ninja gear this time around. He's never in a mask. You've got to showcase Sho's face and his eye patch. And then you jump to the end of the movie, and you get another big fight between Sho and the big bad ninja, complete with ninja zombie, possessed monks, all kinds of. Yeah, it gets that ridiculous if you've never seen the movie. It is awesome in the best way possible. It's so bad in the best way possible. But I love it for what it's worth. And again, I don't remember if I saw this one at the theater or not. I had to have seen it at the theater, but I know I watched it 1,000 times. I think my dad hates this one, but I remember specifically seeing this one together. This one I came late to. I found out about it later. I watched it. No idea they were connected. I just found out Sho Kosugi was in it. I heard it was his first movie, so I watched it. I was like, this movie's awesome. I didn't find out till years later that this was a trilogy that has nothing to do with each other. So there was all kinds of issues. I know that there's a lot of people that aren't happy with this movie that made it, worked on it, but it did keep Sho Kosugi prominent. It kept launching him out into he made movies in no particular order, but before and after this: Pray for Death, Rage of Honor, 9 Deaths of the Ninja, Ninja Assassin I mentioned earlier. There's one that I always forget the name. It's like 1408 or it's not that, but it's something. It's like a period samurai type piece. It was really great. I have to look it up. I think it's the one I don't own. He also did this thing called Masterclass, which I'm going to do an episode on it because that was a very, very important film to me, or a documentary training tool for me when I was coming up as a young martial artist. But yeah, I was obsessed with ninjas. These are the reason why. I always wanted a white ninja uniform. I never got it. I did years later as an adult get a black ninja uniform, and I wore it around the house. I never got to go assassinate anybody, but I did get to do some Halloween stuff. My son wore it for Halloween one year. I had a friend growing up, the tabby boots that they wear with the 2 toes or whatever you want to call them, little split, one big toe and everything else. He used to wear those all the time with his shorts and with his jeans, but he tucked his jeans into them. It was the stupidest thing I ever saw, but he loved them. But yeah, these ninja movies were a big part of my life. They still are. I sat down and I rewatched them all, and you know what? As cheesy and as silly as they are, I love them more now than I loved them then. So those are the movies for today. Hopefully you can check them out. I know that all of them are still available, but especially Shout Factory, I know for a fact, still has Ninja 3 The Domination because it was a fairly new release over the last couple of years. I'm not sure who put all, this one doesn't even say who put out and Enter the Ninja. Get out of here, Vader. Be quiet. I know this one I've seen in the stores. This is an MGM, Revenge of the Ninja. MGM put it out. Vader, be quiet. Come here. Shut it up. If you've never seen them, go check them out. Find them. You could probably find them on on Hulu or Amazon, or Amazon, I think, streams Revenge of the Ninja, and I believe Into the Ninja. I think both of them on Amazon streaming. You probably have to pay to watch them, but you may not. I know Ninja 3 The Domination is still available from Shout Factory, and a lot of times it depends on the exclusive. It's been out long enough, but I think they had posters or whatnot. So try them out. Into the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3 The Domination. The canon Ninja Trilogy is one of the greatest Ninja trilogies that have nothing to do with each other that has ever been made, and probably will only be like that ever. Thank you for watching, as always. Be sure to check out our other shows. Tomorrow, me and the missus will be here for TV Tuesdays, where we talk about all of our TV nonsense. She has to go to the dentist, so I'm hoping that she'll be like this when we do the show, because that'll be hilarious. Also, on Thursday, we'll be right here for the weekly update, and there's so much to talk about with D23 and whatever else gets released this week. Some point in between then and Sunday, we'll have another episode of What's on My Desk. And, of course, Hollywood Matrimony Live on Sunday with me and the missus, where this week we'll be talking about, I have no idea what we're talking about this week. I guess I should look. But we talk about whatever's in the theaters now that we want to speak about. And if you missed the show now, if you missed the show later, you can always come back and check them out right here on this YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe here. Go to our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com, where you can get all your news and TV stuff that I post and reviews there. We have Twitter, Hollywood Matter, M-A-T-R, Hollywood Matrimony on Instagram, and on the Facebook, where we also simulcast our Hollywood Matrimony live show on Sundays. So again, thank you for watching. I appreciate you as always. Hopefully you enjoyed these stupid little shows. Let me know if there's a specific movie you want to hear about of the martial arts show. And if you do, if I have it, we'll talk about it. If I don't have it, maybe I'll buy it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button here. Hit the subscribe button up here if it's up here. Check out a trailer or anything else over here. And once again, keep your hands up. Thank you for watching.